Hey you guys, I'm Audra Morgan, Eye of the Storm. I am here at Balboa Park, just right outside of Tent City. Just behind me here is the security gate that goes down into O Lot. B Lot is on the other side of the Navy Hospital. And there have been a lot of deaths that continue to happen. And I wanted to come in to report to you just from outside here, kind of some things that are very disturbing as they continue to dig their feet into the ground and really try to cover up all of the egregious behaviors that have been taking place here. There has been not only deaths but sexual assaults. There's many code violations. The food is unhealthy. People are who are sick or have some kind of cut are getting bacterial infections. There's been rats. There has been, the showers have been moldy. The electricity, the outlets are unsafe. They're not up to code standards. And there is a federal lawsuit that is taking place against the city of San Diego, Dreams for Change, and Downtown San Diego Partnership. Now, because of this lawsuit, the city, Dreams for Change and Downtown San Diego Partnership have been fighting this lawsuit, trying to get much of it dismissed, trying to say that this is not providing any kind of a shelter, which would mean it's one of the biggest encampments, and it's basically illegal to be homeless, which is unfortunate because that's why many people choose to come here, because it's either that or jail. And right now, there is an inspection that's supposed to be happening August 3rd, and there is a fire and some other inspector that's going to be coming to the site. And what happened is they have been, just in the last few days, been making people leave. They've been evicting them immediately. They give them 2 hours to leave. These are people who have been at this safe sleeping site for 2 to 3 years, and they're giving them 2 hours to collect all their belongings. And if they don't, they would destroy the tent and basically throw it away, and then leave the people to go pick up the pieces of their life that was just thrown away and tossed into the trash. And they're being exited for no legitimate reasons. But what they're also doing is going in and cleaning the bathrooms and, making sure everybody's tent looks perfect, that, they're fixing all of the things that are basically in the lawsuit, saying that, these are what needs to be fixed. You guys are not doing what you were contracted to do or what you are promising these people, which is to get out of there. These people have waited 2 to 3 years just to get out of Tent City, only to be kicked out onto the streets again, and where it is illegal to be out on the streets. So, they're not getting them into housing. They're not providing the resources that are necessary, and they aren't ensuring that people aren't dying. And Tim Allen, one of the members of the lawsuit, just recently died. And the night that he died, he was saying that he didn't want to die like the others did. And then he was found dead, and there were ligature marks that were found on his neck. They were trying to say it was an overdose. He did do drugs, but there is a concern that there's ligature marks in his neck, on his neck, and that there were also two individuals in his tent that night that seemingly left as soon as his body was found. So it is very concerning, the things that continue to go down at Tent City right here behind me, something that they have very well secured, and they don't want anybody going onto the property. Not even an attorney can go speak to their client. And, the protocol for even kicking somebody out is giving them a 30-day notice, and they have the option to appeal. But, they'll say things like these appeals aren't going to go through. They're very sure that these people aren't even going to be able to come back. They have been working very hard to segregate the people, tell them that they can't talk to each other, that, they have to stay on their tier, and there's 4 tiers, and they've fenced them off. They added fencing around the entire perimeter that was one of those metal fences that has the curve on the metal, and usually that curve with the spikes is going out so nobody comes in. However, here it's with the spikes going in so nobody can get out. And they don't even have fire extinguishers where they should be, but I guarantee you that's one of the things that they're fixing right now so they can cover their tracks and make it seem as though everything that was in the lawsuit or is in the lawsuit is false information, when in fact they are, instead of, you know, doing these things and just providing that without being kind of forced to do it, they are now doing it and trying to cover up. And so that actually looks worse for them if you really think about it. And the interesting thing is, as well, is that ICE has been a concern of theirs. Evidently, they were concerned that with this inspection, that it would, allow ICE to come onto the property. Now, why would you be concerned about ICE coming onto the property unless you were harboring and aiding and abetting illegal aliens, people who are undocumented, people who came here illegally? And the interesting thing is, when I first got my tip, my very first tip on Tent City, it was from somebody who told me that illegals were being housed here and actually being abused and mistreated. And so I got the coordinates and found out there wasn't even a site where you could get onto the property. And then that led to just kind of finding out and exposing all of the nefarious things that have been going on at Tent City, the abuse of the homeless population, the deaths, the sexual assaults. When they say there aren't, when I have text messages from an internal chat with the employees that was talking about a rape that took place, and anytime somebody was raped or sexually assaulted, they were discouraged from reporting it. And that is just so horrific to think about, because that means that that person is just roaming around, potentially just getting ready to violate somebody else. And so this place needs to be shut down. It should be run by people who really care about the homeless population and want to see them thrive, not want to run a business off their suffering. And so the hope is that this lawsuit will do that, that the city will course correct and put some other entity into here that would do a service to these people and help them get off the streets. Teresa Smith, the CEO of Dreams for Change, wants these people to stay here as long as possible. And that's really what's happening. People, have the idea that they're going to get out of there, and much of them are dying before they get the chance to get out and get into housing. And if they don't die, then they're being kicked out back onto the streets and, facing the risk of going to jail. So things need to change, and I just wanted to bring light to what is going on. I'll keep you posted with the lawsuit, any more deaths that happened. Just before Tim died, there were 2 women that died from overdoses. There's fentanyl being distributed throughout this place. There is sex trafficking taking place with the security that works here. The employees are taking dogs from people who are participants and selling them, doing different things with them. And, we just need to bring light to it. So I encourage you to share this and help me continue to get the word out so that we can help end the suffering of the participants here at Dreams for Change and Downtown Partnerships, along with the City of San Diego's safe sleeping site. None of these are safe, and when they tell you that, it just means that maybe you should look into it and make sure that our money is being spent wisely, because these entities should not continue to get millions of our dollars when they're not willing to mitigate the things that are taking place in the place that they are responsible for. So it's time for a change, right? And they're all dreaming for a change. So hopefully this makes that change. So stay classy, San Diego. It's never a dull moment. I'm Audra Morgan, Eye of the Storm. Stay tuned.